The first time my mother begged me to unlock the school payment portal in the middle of a crowded restaurant. I took a sip of water, smiled, and told her I no longer funded people who erased me for comfort. She dropped her fork so hard the whole table turned, and that was the moment my sister realized the family emergency she had built was finally hers. My name is Zara, I am 32, and I manage donor relations for a children's hospital in Baltimore. Most days I speak softly to people with money and remind myself that generosity is not the same thing as love. I learned that lesson too late with my own family. It started in October, with a grocery cart full of paper towels and dog treats, and a screenshot that was never meant for me. My cousin Marin sent it with one line underneath. I thought you already knew. The screenshot came from a family group thread I was not in. My sister Raina had written, "We just want a peaceful holiday this year. No tension. It may be better if she sits this one out." She did not use my name. She did not need to. I read it 3 times in the parking lot with the engine off and rain ticking against the windshield. The cruelty was bad enough. The tone was worse. Calm, reasonable, polite enough to sound mature, as if I were not a daughter and a sister but a scheduling issue. I did not call anyone. I went home, put away groceries, made coffee I did not want, and sat at my kitchen table with my dog pressed against my leg. Families like mine never say things cleanly. They call manipulation concern. They call dependence closeness. They call resentment peace. And for too long I helped pay for that language. The help had started small. My sister's husband, Lennox, lost a contract job, so I added them to my auto policy because my rate was better. Their oldest child got into a private elementary program, so I covered part of tuition until things stabilized. Their phone service stayed bundled under my account because I had a work discount. My mother used my grocery membership. My brother kept his tablet on my cloud plan. Every favor came dressed as temporary weather. Just this month, just until tax season, just while we get back on our feet. Nothing was ever called permanent, but somehow I became the standing solution. I was the unmarried daughter with a steady salary, the one without kids, the one who could absorb one more bill without visibly flinching. My family never exactly liked me, but they respected what I fixed. That can feel dangerously similar if you are lonely enough. I have always been the blunt one. I do not laugh on cue. I do not pretend bad behavior is quirky just because it came from someone related to me. My mother says I have a courtroom tone, which is funny because no one in our family has ever liked facts unless the facts were paying a bill. Raina hated that tone most of all. She is younger than me by 3 years and has the kind of softness people trust immediately. She can say something cruel in a wounded voice and make people comfort her for having said it. If I reacted, I was harsh. If I stayed quiet, I was cold. Either way, she got to stay delicate and I got to stay difficult. Still, I kept helping. Maybe because her kids really were sweet. Maybe because after my father died, I became superstitious about family fracture, as if one more rupture would prove something ugly about us. Or maybe because people like me get trained early to believe usefulness is the rent we pay to remain loved. That night, I opened my laptop. I logged into the insurance portal first. There they were. Raina, Lennox, their second car. Coverage details. Renewal date. I removed them, reviewed the recalculated premium, and confirmed the change. Then I opened my phone carrier app. 4 lines besides mine. 2 adult phones, 1 watch, 1 child emergency line. I scheduled removal at the first clean date that would not cost me extra. The school account needed a call the next morning. I emailed first, then followed up as soon as the tuition office opened. I asked that all future invoices and enrollment notices be directed only to the legal guardians, effective immediately. My wording was polite, administrative, almost sterile. No anger, no speech, just a boundary in business language. Then I reviewed everything else. Grocery membership, shared subscriptions, cloud storage, and the holiday rental. That part almost made me laugh. My mother had insisted the family needed a neutral place for December this year, somewhere big enough that no one would feel territorial. I had paid the deposit on a waterfront house with a long dining table and enough beds for everyone because, according to my mother, I was best at organizing things. They were planning a peaceful holiday without me while still expecting to spend it inside the holiday I had funded. I called the rental company from my office parking garage the next morning. The woman explained the cancellation policy in a cheerful voice. I would lose part of the deposit. That is fine, I said. Are you sure? She asked. The stay falls in a high-demand week. Yes, I said, I am sure. When I hung up, I felt sick for a few seconds, then lighter than I had in months. The first call came from my mother, not to ask why I had been excluded. Not to say she was sorry. She called to remind me to bring extra folding chairs to Thanksgiving. I almost admired it. That level of denial takes stamina. Mom, I said, I am not coming. A pause, then, oh, well, you always say that before holidays when you are stressed. No, I said. I am not coming, and the rental house has been canceled. This silence had edges. You canceled what? The house. Since you all wanted something peaceful, I assumed you preferred to arrange it yourselves. Zara, do not start. Start what? This tone, this drama. You know how tense things get when you and Raina are in the same room. There it was. Not a denial, just a redirect. My exclusion had already been reframed as my atmosphere. I said, if my presence is that disruptive, then you should all be relieved I will no longer be financing the occasion. Her voice changed instantly. What does that mean? It means their insurance is no longer on my policy. Their phone lines are being removed. Future tuition invoices are going to the parents. And I canceled the house. For a heartbeat, I heard nothing. Then she whispered, you did all that without talking to me? I laughed once, softly. That was the first time all morning I sounded like myself. Mom, I said. I was not included in the conversation where my own invitation disappeared. She started speaking fast. Families vent. People say things in private. You are making a permanent decision over hurt feelings. The children are involved. I stared at my work badge in my lap and thought about how often women get told that clarity is cruelty the moment it becomes inconvenient. Then maybe their parents should have thought about the children before deciding I was optional, I said. She hung up on me. By lunch, Raina texted. I heard you canceled the house. Seriously? I replied, yes. Her answer came almost instantly. What is wrong with you? I stared at that sentence because it was so familiar. In my family, it had always meant you noticed something you were not supposed to notice. Nothing, I wrote back. I am simply no longer paying for things I will not be present for. 3 dots appeared. Vanished. Appeared again. This is insane, she wrote. The kids were excited. Mom already invited people. Lennox told his family. Everyone arranged schedules. I could almost see her. Pacing and angry, but underneath it, calculating, not just the house, the premium, the tuition, the phone bill, the ripple. I put my phone face down and went back to work. That evening, my neighbor Noelle knocked on my door with a foil pan of baked ziti, and the expression people wear when they know a room has already survived a storm. She lived across the street, worked in county records, and believed every crisis needed carbohydrates. Marin texted me, she said. She asked if you were okay. I had not realized until then how badly I wanted one person to ask me that without also needing access to my wallet. I stepped aside and let her in. So, she said gently, how bad is it? Bad enough that I canceled Christmas for people who already canceled me. Her eyebrows lifted, and for one awful second I thought she might judge me. Instead she said, finally. I blinked. Finally? Noelle gave me a look so dry it could have cracked glass. Zara. Your mother bragged to half the neighborhood that you paid for the family holiday house, and your sister told people you would still come because you always fold. The room went still around me. She told people that? At the block fundraiser last week, Noelle said. She said you throw your little fits, but when the holiday comes, you show up with gifts and fix everything. That landed harder than the screenshot, not because strangers knew, because Raina had counted on me so completely that she had built my obedience into her plans. For the first time since the parking lot, anger arrived hot enough to light the room. Not wild anger, useful anger. I opened my phone again and checked the school email I had received earlier. Thank you. Future billing will be redirected to the Guardians beginning immediately. Any past due balance must be resolved directly before winter extracurricular participation can be approved. I read that line twice. The holiday dinner might have been the stage they chose for excluding me, but the first real fallout was not going to happen there. It was going to hit at the winter recital, in front of other parents, when unpaid balances became public restrictions, and my sister had to explain why the woman she called Tension had quietly been holding half her life together. For the first time all week, I did not feel hurt. I felt ready. The recital was on a Thursday evening in the elementary school auditorium, with beige walls, folding chairs, and a stage that made every child look both brave and tiny. I was not supposed to be there, but my niece once told me she could always find me in a crowd because I never clapped politely. I clapped like I meant it. So I slipped in through the side entrance and stood near the back with a paper cup of coffee cooling in my hand. Raina stood near the aisle in a cream sweater, smiling too brightly, one hand fixed on my nephew's shoulder, the other gripping her phone. Lennox stood beside her in a blazer that fit badly. My mother sat in the second row, turning every few minutes to scan the room. Their new insurance premium was higher than they could float. The family phone plan required deposits because of an old missed payment that had only stayed invisible while they lived inside my account. And the school, unlike family, did not process emotion. It processed balances. If the winter account stayed unresolved, the children could attend class, but any optional performance or extracurricular privilege would be paused. I had not interfered. I had simply stepped away and allowed reality to use its own voice. The children lined up by class along the side wall, a blur of velvet bows and tiny dress shoes. My niece turned her head, spotted me, and froze. For 1 second I saw confusion, then relief so sharp it hurt. She smiled and lifted her chin a little. That tiny moment should have softened me. But then Raina noticed where her daughter was looking. She twisted around, saw me near the back, and her whole face changed. Shock first, then calculation, then a smile. like she had always meant for me to be there. She was already moving toward me when a woman from the front office intercepted her. I did not hear the first sentence. I did not need to. I saw the folder in the woman's hand, the instant collapse of my sister's fake smile. Raina glanced toward the stage, then toward the mothers around her, then back to the woman. Lennox stepped in. My mother rose halfway from her seat. There was a form, a signature needed, a same-day payment arrangement. Without it, my niece could stand with the group, but would be removed from the after-program photo session and winter arts list, a small consequence in real life, a devastating one when surrounded by watching parents and holiday music. Raina looked over the woman's shoulder at me. That was the first public moment she understood the difference between being abandoned and being unsupported. I had not exposed her. I had not made a scene. I had just stopped cushioning the drop. She came toward me so fast Lennox had to follow.
"Zara!" she hissed.
I stayed where I was. "You did this on purpose." "No," I said. "I stopped doing it on purpose." Her eyes flashed. "Are you seriously going to stand there while the kids are affected?" "You were comfortable letting me be affected in private," I said. "This is just the first time the inconvenience belongs to you." Lennox stepped forward with that false calm men use when they want witnesses to think they are reasonable. "There is no need to be cruel," he said. "If this is about the holiday, talk to us after tonight and fix the tuition now." "Fix? I am not an emergency fund with a pulse," I said. My mother had reached us by then. "People are staring, Zara." "Then perhaps you should lower your voice," I said. My niece's class was called. The children shuffled toward the risers in a line of red and green. Raina half-turned, torn between the stage and the paperwork. For a second, her whole life was visible in the split. Appearances on one side, obligations on the other. She chose appearances first. She pushed the folder at Lennox and hurried to the front row, sat beside our mother, and pasted on a smile for the performance. Lennox stood in the aisle with the office woman, reading pages he clearly did not understand. I stayed through the songs. I clapped for my niece. I waved once when she looked for me again. Then I left before the final applause. Halfway to my car, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. It was the parent coordinator for the school gala. "Your sister said you might still handle the donor baskets this year. Need confirmation tonight." I stopped under the parking lot light and stared at the screen. Of course. Even after the screenshot, the canceled house, the insurance, the tuition, the phones, she had still told school parents I was managing the gala donations, because in her mind, my usefulness was not a relationship, it was infrastructure. I typed back, "I am not involved this year. Please remove my name from any committee materials." The answer came almost immediately. "Understood. Also, since your name was listed as event underwriter, should we update the sponsor board?" I closed my eyes. At some point, without telling me, Raina had put my name and company affiliation on the gala sponsor draft to make it look as though the event already had backing. She had borrowed my professional credibility to float her promises. "Please remove both," I wrote. I did not authorize either use. When I got home, I found a gift bag on my porch with a silk scarf peeking out and a note in my mother's looping script. "Families say thoughtless things. Let us not destroy December over pride." No apology, no acknowledgement, just another offering wrapped to look softer than it was. I carried the bag inside, set it on the counter, and called Noelle. She arrived in slippers, took one look at the note, and said, "That is not peace, that is bait with ribbon." I laughed so hard I almost cried. The gala mess kept unfolding over the next day. 2 board members emailed me directly, asking whether I would still be attending the planning brunch, since my name had already circulated among local donors. I answered with the same short truth every time. I was not sponsoring, not attending, and had not approved use of my name. By afternoon, the board chair called. "Ms. Hale," she said, "I wanted to confirm whether your sister had authority to represent your involvement." "No," I said. "She did not." There was a pause, then she added, "We will correct it immediately." By evening, my mother was calling again, then Raina, then Lennox, then a message from my aunt saying, "Please tell me you did not embarrass your sister with the school and the gala in the same week." The same week, as if the problem were timing, not theft. I finally answered one call, Raina's. She was crying when I picked up, but not in the way that invites comfort. In the way people cry when control has started slipping in too many directions at once. "You could have warned me," she said. "About which part?" I asked. "The part where schools expect parents to pay? Or the part where charities expect permission before using someone's name? You always do this," she snapped. "You wait until you can sound superior." "No," I said quietly. "You just notice my silence when it stops protecting you." She breathed hard into the phone. Then she said the truest thing she had said in years. "I did not think you would actually stop." There it was. Not, "I did not mean it." Not, "I am sorry." Not, "I was wrong." I know, I said. She started talking fast after that. Mom said you were being sensitive. Lennox said you would cool off. The holiday thing was just to keep one dinner from turning into one of your lectures. The gala was supposed to help us meet people. The tuition issue was temporary. The insurance was only until spring. Everything in her mouth was temporary, which in family language meant mine until challenged. When she finally ran out of breath, I said, do not use my name again. Do not volunteer my money, my work, or my access. And do not confuse my calm with permission. Then I hung up. The final fracture came on Sunday at my mother's birthday lunch. The one she kept insisting was not really a family event, just a small meal. I went because I wanted witnesses. My mother had chosen a place with white tablecloths and chandeliers, the kind of restaurant where people lower their voices even when they are furious. Raina arrived late, Lennox behind her, both carrying that brittle politeness people wear when they are already rehearsing innocence. Dessert had just been set down when my mother leaned toward me and said, softly enough to sound loving, we all agree this has gone far enough. You made your point. Now put the tuition back on your card and let your sister use your donor contacts for the gala. Then we can be a family again. I looked around the table. No one looked surprised. They had discussed terms before I arrived. My attendance had not been an invitation. It had been an ambush with frosting. So I reached into my bag, took out a slim folder, and placed it beside my plate. Inside were printed copies of the gala emails, the board chair's confirmation, and a screenshot Marin had sent me that morning from the family thread. My mother had written, once she calms down, we can get Zara to cover the school and smile through Christmas like always. I slid the screenshot across the linen toward my mother. For the first time in my life, she had no immediate sentence waiting. Raina went white. Lennox looked at the table. My aunt covered her mouth. I stood, smoothed my coat, and left my untouched fork beside the cake. You already had a family, I said. You just kept billing the wrong woman for it. I walked out before anyone could follow. By January, the school balance was in their names. The gala committee removed me completely and asked Raina to step down. Lennox picked up contract work. My mother stopped calling unless it truly mattered. The house is quieter now. Kinder, too. I still send the kids birthday gifts. I still attend recitals when they ask. But every bill in my life has my name on it. And no one else's. The family group thread exists without me. So does their chaos. And when my phone lights up with my mother's name these days, I let it ring until the silence sounds exactly like peace.